Hi, my name is Ishmael from IN Management Limited, and today we're going to be talking about negative interest rates. Yes, negative interest rates. They've been talking about it for a while now, and we're here to see what they have been recently saying in December. So, in December, what's been going on about negative interest rates? Well, they're still talking about it. However, what they have found, looking at places like Japan, Europe, Switzerland, that have already introduced negative interest rates, they found they haven't had the exact desired effect. They thought the economy would start booming, or not exactly booming, but increasing quite rapidly compared to its decrease, and they didn't really see any real impact on the spending of the people who had negative interest rates. Now, this could be because they're just moving their money from the negative interest rates to other asset classes, such as crypto. It's gone through the roof recently. Other things like gold, silver, commodities, all these things have been going up. That's probably because people have gone, well, if the banks are going to start charging us, what are we going to do? We're going to take our money out of the bank and spend it on a safe investment where we get something rather than nothing. Because if you buy gold, gold prices have been going up, but assume they don't go up. Over the long term, if you buy various asset classes and invest in various businesses, the chances are that you're not going to lose. You're going to either stay the same or eventually gain more if you're investing for the long term. So a lot of the investors were long-term investors. So it hasn't had the desired effect on the markets, on the economy in the countries that have actually introduced negative interest rates. Now, the other question they had, the Bank of England was asking places like HSBC and Santander, they were asking them to do a report on what exactly effects they think it would have. Not only what effects they think it would have, but are the banks actually ready to do negative interest rates? And the report results came out as no, they're not ready. Although they have a lot of their systems in place which could handle it, there's some parts of their systems which are actually not designed for negative interest rates. And the algorithms on the computers would actually not allow for them to do negative interest rates. So it becomes a problem. Now, they're saying that this implementation could take 12 to 18 months. I'm not quite sure why, because it's happened in Europe, but maybe the banking system over here is slightly different, the way it works and the computerized systems they have. Although banks like Santander are Spanish. It's not even English, so why can't they just implement it over here? I'm not sure. But negative interest rates are still on the cards. Now, what do I think about negative interest rates? I think they're not going to come in yet, but I think that if the property market starts to crash drastically, they will bring negative interest rates in. The reason being that when the property prices start to crash drastically, if they do, then there's only one thing they have left to do. They've done the stamp duty holiday, they've done the furlough scheme, which they will end eventually, and when these things end, prices might start to crash. At this point, I think, if they are going to introduce negative interest rates, is when they'll introduce it. Why? Because when they introduce the negative interest rates, people with large savings are going to look for alternatives. And I think the people with large savings will go into the property market. And that will naturally inflate the property market and restore it to a balance. So I think that's when they will introduce negative interest rates, if they introduce them. Now, what can you do as a normal person if you are scared of negative interest rates and you don't have enough money to buy a property with the 25% deposit? Well, one thing you can do is look at creative strategies, which I've talked about in other videos, such as rent-to-rent, lease option agreements, vendor finance, investor finance, joint ventures, various other strategies which you could do to increase your pot or be able to control properties and get an income from them without having the massive amounts of cash. So that's one thing. But let's assume you're not too big into the property market, or you don't want to put your savings in the property industry, or you are putting savings into the property industry but you're holding back at the moment because you believe the market's going to crash and you want to wait. There's a lot of people I've spoken to which are doing that. I'm not one of them, I'm buying. So if you're one of the people who's holding back, what can you do? Well, you can go for various accounts. Now, one of the accounts that you can go for is Aldermore, which offers 1.15% 1.15% interest for 2 years fixed. Now if you have a fixed interest rate, they cannot charge you interest or take that interest rate down in a fixed period. Now it's a 2-year fixed interest rate on £1,000 or more. Now I'm not sure if there was a cap on this, but if you're a small saver and you've got £1,000 or more that you want to put safe, then put it into one of these accounts. 2 years fixed, 1.15%. Not the best, but it's something. The second thing you could do is ASB Bonds. Now, there's the two types of bonds, one which you get interest from and one which you get nothing from. But the one you get nothing from, you entered into a lottery fund. You might win something, you might not, but it stops you losing. The chances, I think, are 1 in 35,000, so it's quite low. But for every £1 you have in the account, you effectively get a lottery ticket. Now, a lot of people spend money on the lottery. You only need to put £100 in to start with. So if you would normally spend £20 a month, or whatever you spend on your lottery, then if you put it into an ASB bond, you've not only got the infinite lottery tickets every month, but you've also stopped losing money. A third thing you can do, which is what I would suggest if you need access to the money, is put it in a direct savers account. Now, a direct savers account, Coventry Building Society offers 0.96% on a direct savers account. So this means that you can do a regular savings and it's a fixed term and you won't lose. So another thing you can do is lifetime ISAs or help to save schemes from the government where you get the bonuses and they top up your account for help to buy schemes and various things like this. Now, I personally wouldn't use one of these schemes because most of these schemes are only available for new properties and I would personally not buy a new property, but each to their own. And the last and final thing you could do is, if you have any debt, which a lot of people do, is clear your debt. Now, people might think, I don't have credit card debt. And I'll go, fine, you don't have credit card debt, that's fine. But if you're not investing your money and you've got it sat there, then there's more than one type of debt. There's more than just credit card debt. There's car finance. How much are you paying on your car finance? You don't have a car finance? That's fine. What about a mortgage? Mortgage interest rates might be low. They might be near 2%. They might be under 2% depending on your term and depending on your borrowing. But even if you are only paying a 2% interest rate, that's 2%. You're losing. And if it's in the bank and you're losing as well, you're losing more. So overpay your mortgage. You can overpay 10% on your mortgage. So why not overpay your mortgage? If you can overpay your mortgage, you'll reduce your debt, you'll stop losing out on your savings, and in the future, if you want that money back, you can always remortgage or release equity from your property. But that's how you can get it back out if you need to. But I would suggest paying off your debt, your bad debt. So there's good debt and bad debt. So if you want to learn more about good debt and bad debt, check out my video on good debt, bad debt. In the meantime, I will be posting a video every day for the first week of January. So like my video, subscribe to my channel and whack that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of these amazing videos coming out every day in the first week in January.